So I finally finished Adventure Time Fionna and Cake Season 2. And now it's time to show my full, complete review of every single episode. I really like this season. I really like that it was very character focused. I really like those types of shows. And while it was iffy or not if this season was going to work, because season 1 felt like it was very Simon focused, and in this one Fionna was taking more of the spotlight, I do think it stepped up. But anyways, before I just talk about the series as a whole, let's go ahead and play my episode reviews of Fionna and Cake Season 2. This video is mostly for me, but I feel like out of all of the Adventure Time characters that I have grown to learn and love over the years, I know very little about Huntress Wizard. I know she's a leaf lady, and I feel like her character might be a little quiet and about her action. That's about it. Oh, and I think she kissed Finn once, maybe. But it's looking like she's gonna have a major role in Fionna and Cake Season 2, so I had to figure out more about her. Who is Huntress Wizard? I'm not gonna sit here and discuss every minor episode that she was a part of, but the wiki does state 3 major episodes that she's in, so those are the ones we're going to be focusing on today, and the one she debuted in, of course, even though that episode barely has anything to do with her. She debuted in a season 3 episode, Wizard Battle, a very normal early Adventure Time episode about this wizard competition going on where the winner gets a kiss from Princess Bubblegum. Interestingly enough, Huntress Wizard was one of the people competing for this kiss, even cheering along with everyone else when they reiterated the prize. Is this by a Huntress Wizard confirmed, maybe? There's probably fan art somewhere about that. Her first major episode was in a season 7 episode, Flute Spell. Her character in this episode feels very apropos of her name. She feels very focused on the hunt, and by hunt I mean whatever her mission is at the time. In this episode, it was simply to see the nature spirit again, which she lost the ability to for some reason, and she thought Finn's flute spell was the key to unlocking it, but everything they tried failed. I like how this episode was structured because we're Jake in this episode. We don't know where Finn has been. We hear he's hanging out with this new lady, and those shipping ears do perk up, but every possible time Jake could potentially see something was met with either very oddly platonic answers from Finn or very focused answers from Huntress Wizard. Personally speaking, I kind of would have loved if it stayed platonic, but it pulls a plot twist at the end where it kind of goes further and also kind of doesn't. They successfully make the spirit appear once they start playing together, and he asks Finn what was he playing for, and Finn admits he was playing for Huntress Wizard. He knew she really wanted to see this spirit dude again, and maybe they had something going on in the past, so he bottled up his emotions for her and channeled it through the flute playing. How very oddly mature Finn in this time period. The even more odd thing about this interaction is that she said she was doing it for the same reason. Kissed him and said something on the lines of 2 strong forces can't be held down. They come together and go apart when needed, or something like that. I'm assuming this was representative of how their relationship is. One's a warrior with a mission, one's a huntress with a mission. Obviously their paths will cross again, but it doesn't seem like something serious will flourish afterwards. Maybe later down the line, but not right now. The next 2 episodes didn't come until season 10. The last season. So let's go ahead and start with the Wild Hunt. This episode takes place not long after Finn killed Fern. He's still dealing with the fresh trauma and is learning because of that he can't work as well as he used to. He's trying to slay this candy creature that has been kidnapping banana guards, but each time he gets a chance to, he just can't because he sees Fern's face staring back at him. Not even Jake can snap him out of it. He ends up chasing it into the forest to try to make up for his mistake, and there he runs into Huntress Wizard, who is also hunting the beast. Again, like it was stated before, she's very mission driven, and she uses this hunt as a reason to hang out with Finn some. 2 strong forces coming together once again. But still, even after some pep talk from Huntress Wizard, it wasn't enough. So Huntress Wizard thought of this big plan where she would throw herself in harm's way because maybe that will snap him out of his funk and he'll save her. Which does happen. There does seem to be a disconnect though between the reasons as to why Finn did it. Huntress Wizard assumed it's because he's madly in love with her, but really it was Finn who had to trick his brain into seeing her as Fern in order to slay the beast to protect her. There was a little funny joke afterwards where they kissed and he saw Fern in her face afterwards and screamed. 10 out of 10 joke. What I got from her character watching this was that she seems like the type of person who logically tries to figure everything out if it wasn't obvious from her mission focused attitude anyway. funny ways. I think she takes pride in knowing things and trying to figure stuff out. Kinda like Craven and his pride towards his Hunt situation, but not as sadistic. Relationship-wise, they still feel oddly platonic, but with kissing involved. They just feel like two individual badass warriors who come together to cuddle sometimes, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. The wiki states the other major episode for her was 17, but again, this was mostly a Finn and Fern history episode, even more so than the last one. She is barely in this episode. Really, the only thing that was revealed about Huntress Wizard that wasn't previously stated in the previous episodes was the fact that she has this weird Huntress vision. It's this vision to her that slows down everything so she can see all the little details that's going on around her sight. I'm curious if this only works on nature or if it just slows everything down like when you're doing a steady aim arrow shot in Breath of the Wild. Episode 1 of Fionna and Cake Season 2 is out now, and I have to say, it feels very epilogue-y, feels very shippy. I don't really go about talking about the ships throughout this video that much, so I will just go ahead and say at the start. It seems like Fionna has some history with Flame Princess's counterpart DJ Flame. So much history in fact that Cake just doesn't want her to see his face anywhere. And also in this one episode, they tease Fionna getting together with Hunter, and they tease Cake getting together with Lady Rainicorn's counterpart in this world. I get that they get together every dimension, but in this world, it is just a cat and a human. That's it. Oh, and there was also this moment where Finn was getting fed by who he thought was Huntress Wizard in one of the most seductive images I've ever seen in Adventure Time. And he ends it with, "Thanks, babe." This is 100% for the shippers here. But before I get too sidetracked, let's go ahead and start talking about what I actually want to talk about in this episode. This episode focused on two characters, Fionna and Huntress Wizard. In the previous season, both Fionna and Simon had matching themes of feeling like they both didn't belong in the worlds they were living in. In both instances, they learned to find the magic in their respective worlds. For Fionna, in a much more literal sense. She kinda gets to have her cake and eat it too. Magic is alive and well in this world now after saving a day. But really, besides Cake, it feels like everything else is exactly the same. Nobody's mind had to get rewritten, everybody is still human, this world is exactly the same as we left it, except Fionna has a new outlook on life. She seems a lot more happy, a lot more gung-ho, a lot more goal-oriented. Every person she stops to help just can't help but tell her that she was not like this before, and if she was, they wouldn't have fired her. And she kind of winces every time someone says that. It seems like she's in this repentance part of her life, but still struggling with the thoughts of her past, and Maudra's counterpart made that theme perfectly clear. She told Fionna that even though she saved the world, that doesn't stop her from being the loser that she was. And a dream she has later on, I feel like kind of solidifies that feeling. Based on her dream, I think she feels some guilt for wanting to get rid of this world and live somewhere more magical. Or maybe she feels guilty for still feeling that way, and now it's just bottling it up. And it was shown in a dream by her and Cake chopping everybody's heads off. Why is Martin there? I don't know. Why is assumingly Chuskus there? I doubly don't know. But this is episode 1. No need to figure all of that out right now. On the flip side, we have Huntress Wizard. Huntress Wizard more or less feels like the exact same character from Adventure Time. The main thing that I feel like has grown since then is her comfortability to Finn. Similarly to each time we see her, this time she is on a hunt following this lion around, and this lion awkwardly wanders into a cave where a bedridden Finn lies. With a huge gashing across his back, Huntress Wizard is confused by what's going on, but with the help from Simon, we the audience know what happened. In Fionna and Cake Season 1 Episode 2, Finn took Simon on a quest to cheer him up, and they ended up blindfolded in the heart of the forest. There, they fought off this giant bear, but in the process, Finn's body got flung into a tree with a bunch of benches. He hasn't healed since, and in fact has gotten a lot worse. Every little touch stings him, and he's even hallucinating. This tree has poisoned our hero. He's been poisoned for the majority of last season while we were worried about Fionna and Simon. How could we be so foolish? Huntress Wizard seems to know about the heart of the forest, but she doesn't want outsiders to know anything. She tells Simon to forget about the forest and goes in to find a cure for Finn, but there, she runs into the bear as well. This is only speculation, but I think Huntress Wizard might have been born here. I have no evidence to support this claim, but what else could it be? Maybe it's just a spot the nature spirit showed her and told her about before, but it was also stated in the original series by the nature spirit himself that she had once been more in tune with nature but ran off to learn magic for some reason and lost it. Could the reason have something to do with this forest? Was it to help someone, or was it to hurt someone or something? Is this where she learned to hunt? I guess we'll have to wait and find out. I honestly have no clue where this season is going to take us. Obviously, we had to get to a point where Fionna and Huntress Wizard are in the same dimension, but how do we go about that? Does this eventually have something to do with Chuskus? Does this have something to do with her dreams? I don't know. How is this going to happen exactly? Is it because Huntress Wizard feels like she can only trust Finn, so therefore she's going to look for other Finn counterparts to help her out with this mission? Is it going to be something else entirely? Does the Force itself summon Fionna there? Something tells me I'm like a month off. I just watched season 2, episode 2 of Fionna and Cake. This season is finally starting to feel like it's setting itself up a little bit. It feels like there might be dimension hopping in it, I'm not entirely sure. But that's not the topic of today's video. The topic of today's video is new Huntress Wizard lore. The episode begins with this Samurai Jack-like backstory of this young Huntress Wizard, then just called Huntress, training with the spirit warrior of the forest whom we've seen before from the original series. It's seeming like they weren't together like Finn assumed they were, and they had more of a mentor-student kind of relationship, which makes a lot more sense to me personally. Once trained up to a certain point, she was deemed ready, and went to the heart of the forest, and there stood Witch Wizard, who is the guardian of the heart of the forest. She allows people who have been chosen to get bestowed by the power of the heart and become a green wizard, which I guess is what they call nature wizards in this show. Once receiving said powers, Huntress Wizard refused to join the club and started doing things her own way. I'm assuming here is where she started losing the ability to see that spirit warrior. She was no longer deemed worthy by the witch wizard, which means she's not seen worthy to all who inhabit the forest, including the spirit warrior. Once arriving back to the heart now to get the sap and prepare an antidote for Finn, it seems like Witch Wizard has been the bear the whole time, and has set this whole story into motion by attacking Finn in the previous season. Huntress Wizard, after struggling with Witch Wizard, starts to get the sap out of the tree, but as hearts do, it bleeds and doesn't stop, and out comes this giant deer that was trapped and subdued in the forest that has been the source for all of the Green Wizard's magic this entire time. And with the zoom in on the shackles when it was writhing in pain, I can only make the assumption that it was captured against its will and was used only as a source of magic, and Witch Wizard's ancestors have been guarding it forever, since she clearly seemed like she didn't know why she was guarding it. She just knew it had to be done, and she was right obviously. Everyone's powers started draining. This green portal popped up, and while trying to attack Huntress Wizard, she got flung into this portal and is now on some weird astral plane. Her body got chopped and morphed, and now she's a spirit floating endlessly. But as she's floating, one by one, her morphed body parts, now eggs or large seeds maybe, are transported to different dimensions, and we get glimpses of each of them as she gets the option to decide where she wants to return to. She chooses the one she thinks is right, the one that she hears Simon's voice coming from talking about Finn's condition. But when going there, it turns out it was actually Fionna's world. Now she's stuck in a pot, waiting to grow. Speaking of Simon and Finn, I do have some things I want to say about this part of the episode. One, I love the stakes they're trying to give Finn within here. I really do. But I keep thinking about Together again and how old Finn was in there when he finally did pass. And I just can't help but feel like everything is going to be okay because I know how it ends. But what if they get wacky with it? What if Baby World Finn replaces the other Finn? I don't really think it's possible. It's just something I thought about. I don't really think Baby World people age. I'm pretty sure we'll go back to Baby World. I'm pretty sure we'll go back to Farm World. I'm pretty sure we'll go back to the Vampire World, because these were some of the images that were shown when we were seeing where Huntress Wizard seeds were going to. But they also showed some other universes that I wasn't entirely sure if we've seen before. Maybe we'll get some adventure, maybe we won't. Also with Fionna, Fionna, is Fionna's story this season going to be the same as last season? By that I mean she gets intertwined into this interdimensional adventure just to get enough growth to figure out the solution to her problem back in her world, but this time instead of it being a threat of may or may not existing, it's just a threat of a landlocked being kept from them. Maybe there'll be some parallels to the forest that I haven't thought about yet. I don't know. I just don't see it currently. How will Huntress Wizard get back? Can she just casually hop around to different seas of herself now? Is there a Heart of the Forest in every dimension? Oh, well, now that I think about it, I did remember seeing an image of Prismo I can't explain yet, so he's probably involved in that more likely? I'm not really sure. I think I'm really starting to like this show. I think I'm really starting to see where it's going. Not entirely sure yet though. I just have a lot of questions. And I really like having questions for shows I watch. I just watched season 2 episode 3 of Fionna and Cake, and I just have one very important question. What in the world is going on with Fionna? Fionna as a character is a very strange thing to discuss. I appreciate her growth in season 1, going from wanting this crazy fantastical world to appreciating what she had, but now that she's back living in the modern world, reality is smacking her left and right. Back in episode 1 of this season, I speculated that her dreams were representations of her guilt that she had wanting to get rid of this world, and maybe subconsciously she still wants to. I didn't know. The dream she had within this one was of an OG Fionna and Cake style episode where her and Cake were fighting the Ice Queen to rescue the Flame Prince. Kinda similar to her dream she had about the Ice Prince back in season 1. Things are very magical, things are very hot, and it bodes for disaster. The flowing thread within this episode revolves around this relationship. Flame Prince and Dream Fionna, DJ Flame and Modern Fionna, Finn and Flame Princess. DJ Flame in this world is very different from his counterparts. He's very pickup artisty, very sleazy. He's a womanizer, and Fionna is too gullible to see through it. She drags herself to his club performance, gets all dolled up, only to stumble across him kissing his now nature girl that looks exactly like her, named Fennel, I think. Basically the Fern counterpart in this world. Just like the Ice Prince dream was too good to be true, so was the Flame Prince dream. But it does show that Fionna might actually yearn for things to be more magical still. I'm just not sure if this is meant to be like a metaphor for her life being better, or actual magic. She finds herself in a drunken state afterwards, stumbling over to Hunter's house, where she tries to kiss him, but he obviously refuses cause she's drunk. Anyways, forget all of that. There's one more important thing I want to talk about right here. Why did we get a glitch of dead Simon just now? Can it mean something? It looked like the face of the Ice Prince when he was shriveling up, so I'd go as far to say maybe it's just to hammer down that connection I was referring to earlier. Fiona's yearning for something more magical, causing her to be blind to reality. This is the growth she's going to have within this season. She has to become a better person by the end. She chose to stick with this world. Her reality. She has to now learn how to live within it. How exactly will she do that though? I'm not sure. I still expect her to go on this dimension hopping journey again, so that has to be the route taken maybe? For Finn, things are more or less the same. Princess Bubblegum's trying to figure out some sort of cure scientifically with Simon and Marcy, but nothing seems to be working. So much so that Princess Bubblegum decides maybe to try out the magic stuff. This is uncalled for Princess Bubblegum. She decides to give everybody's fairy tale ideas a try. Little did she know though, somehow all the princesses have learned about Finn's condition, and they've all come to the conclusion that he needs true love's kiss. But obviously that doesn't work. It doesn't stop every princess from trying. Even badass looking Flame Princess came through, tried it, and said sweet things to Finn, and it didn't work, but god, seeing her again was so heartwarming. That nostalgic bug is kicking me in the ass right now. She also revealed that she's not upset that Finn didn't wake up, she's actually seeing someone, and since DJ Flame is seeing Fennel, I can only assume that the individual she is seeing is Fern. Who else could it be? It'd be really nice to see Fern again, honestly. But before I start rambling on too much, this is being a little bit fun. It's being a little bit cheeky. I like a lot of the nostalgia pops we're getting within here. I was a little confused at first when it opened up on the Fionna and Cake adventure. I can only assume it was a dream, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna assume it was a dream though. I just saw Fionna and Cake season 2 episode 4. Oh my god, Huntress Wizard is back. That being said, said, there are two very important things I want to talk about in this video. One, I want to talk about that crazy short at the beginning, and two, I want to question why Huntress Wizard is so private. The short at the beginning was very representative of what happened in this episode. I'm gonna start assuming at this point that that's the formula and they're going to do that instead of the dimension hopping, which I'm totally okay with. It gives a lot more time for characters to grow and develop within this world that we have established is important. I'm assuming this short has no bearing to the actual plot at hand, because the sea that Huntress Wizard is in, she had to imbue it with her life essence. So that made me believe that the others aren't alive currently and are just dormant until she maybe wants to move to the other one, but I could be wrong. This version of Huntress Wizard was in this farm-like world, but not the farm world. It was taken in by this sweet family who was caring to her, feeding her, showed her how to eat, made her develop a mouth, but not much else could happen because immediately they died in a house fire. Am I to assume this is what's going to become of Fionna and Cake? Because this episode was about them taking in Huntress Wizard and feeding her and keeping her clothed, just like the family was at the beginning shorts. Is their future going to be their house being on fire? Wait a second. Could the eviction notice at the end actually be a metaphor for their house being on fire? Could it already have happened? Huntress Wizard is such a mysterious character, not just to me, but the entire cast of Adventure Time as a whole, maybe besides Finn. The backstory we got of her a couple episodes ago, where we see her get the power from the Heart of the Forest, and they try to initiate her into the Green Wizards Club, but she says she wants to do things her own way. That's considered a decline, no? That's why I said in a video that she refused to join them but kept the powers. But if that's to be believed, why does she keep secrets from them like the Heart of the Forest? Why does, when Princess Bubblegum try to ask her what's going on, she says Green Wizards only? I didn't think she rode with them. They tried to attack you, Huntress Wizard. Also, I don't think it's a thing anymore. They're all powerless now. I don't think you have a little Green Wizard Club anymore, my dog. This series is doing nothing to me but making me ask more questions and making me more curious as to who Huntress Wizard is and how she operates. She says she can sense a faint reading of the Heart of the Forest in this world, so I'm assuming she'll eventually find it and be able to go to a different dimension. But I don't think it'll be that simple just to go back to Ooh. But I think she'll get to a different dimension for sure. Fionna, on the other hand, it's starting to seem like her season 1 self to me. She seems like a mess. She seems like she hasn't been working, she can't keep up with her bills, and it's taken this opportunity with Huntress Wizard seemingly as some sense of heroic duty, but it also seems like she's using it as a means to distract and escape from her own reality. Kinda like she felt in season 1 when she finally went to the land of Ooh. She didn't want to go back. That was definitely not a plan for her originally. If I'm putting together the things I think I'm putting together, Fionna will get sucked into a portal along with Huntress Wizard, and they'll both be struggling to find their own ways back home, kinda like her and Simon was within season 1. It's seeming like Prismo can't help though. He says it's out of his jurisdiction. I don't think Simon can help either. He was barely able to last time. Genuinely, I'm so curious how this season will end. I can't predict how this season is going to go. The only thing I know for sure is that Finn will be fine because together again exists. That's the only thing I know for sure. I didn't get to talk about it much, but what I do want to say is I do like this weird Huntress Wizard design. I never really assumed that she was a plant. I thought she was just a green person, because a lot of things in the Adventure Time world are just people but different. Candy people, ice people, slime people, but they still like have teeth and do all this other stuff. She is a plant. She grows roots out of her fingers to suck out the nutrients of things. I think that's super sick. It makes it super creepy also. It makes me want to know more about Huntress Wizard. I just watched season 2, episode 5 of Fionna and Cake. I'm all caught up now. And there are two main talking points within this video. One, I want to talk about the old tree itself. And two, obviously, I want to talk about Marshall Lee. This episode was mostly about him, so obviously he's going to be a point of discussion in this video. I'm not going to lie, this was probably the hardest one to title because I wanted to make the old tree the talking point of this video. This tree feels stuck between two worlds, maybe fighting to keep it together, but for sure it feels stuck. If this isn't obvious, this is Finn's tree, Fiona's old tree from the OG Fionna and Cake days. And this tree still has the memories of those days. It's like those events both happened and didn't happen in this world. Fionna and Cake take Huntress Wizard here because it's the oldest tree in town and this might be the heart of the forest she keeps blabbering about. She then, right there, becomes one with the tree, flowing through its memories of different time periods it has existed through. Oh, and Cake is with her as well. And what I mean by it's stuck between two worlds, each time we go to a past point, we see the original Fionna and Cake lands, we see them getting ready for an adventure, we see a little vampire Marshall Lee about to fly out of the tree, but each time it happens, it quickly gets this weird magic wipe to the new version of reality. So then we're seeing the actual modern past of them. If I had to assume, I'd think it's trying to tell us that things are still being rewritten as we speak. This universe feels confused. There's both magic and there isn't magic. This is still the same world that magic got wiped from, but technically it now exists and Cake is living proof of that. With Fiona's character feeling like it has to fully reject or accept this reality's conditions, one can assume that the universe itself is feeling something similar. Both events, non-magical and magical, did happen, but regardless, this is the world that we are occupying currently. Acceptance and rejection has been a big theme throughout the series so far, so by the end, I feel like the world will have to do the same thing. Not only was this represented with the tree in this episode, it was also represented within Marshall Lee. His entire character is someone who craves acceptance from his peers and mentors, but never receives it until recently. The short at the beginning was about his backstory and how his mother was controlling and didn't let him play in any reindeer games, even though he was just a little reindeer himself. So much so that when he drops his freshly bought ice cream from the ice cream lady, he went straight to apologizing mode, saying that he can do better type stuff, only for the ice cream lady to say, dude, it's no problem, and just gives him another one. I don't know why I didn't think about it sooner, but clearly this series have been saying each relationship that is in the original Adventure Time series, romantic and platonic, are all universally shared by fate throughout all of these dimensions. Each dimension, PB ends up with Marcy, each dimension Jake has Finn, each dimension Marcy has Simon, except the one where he's dead, of course. So it's no different here. This interaction with the ice cream lady changed Marshall's trajectory. She shared his lackadaisical demeanor and his passion for music, which made his passion stronger, but for some reason, she just up and ghosted him one day according to him. Speculative theory here. In the OG Adventure Time world, Simon eventually leaves Marcy because the crown eventually makes him go mad, but that can't happen here. So how about we imbue a little bit of reality into this? Let's say something hit her head, she got amnesia or something. Something serious had to happen to cause this to occur. I'm gonna say amnesia because I don't want to say something like Alzheimer's. I feel like that's a bit too much. I think amnesia is a better road for this to play around with. Or maybe it's something as simple as Marshall Lee's mom paying her off for something to stop influencing him. Who knows? I kinda expect a more serious route to be taken though for some reason. If it is to be explored, I'm not sure if it will be. I do want it to be explored though. If you establish this relationship, let's explore it. Let's give it some nice writing. Let's explain why she was out of Marshall Lee's life, even though there is some sort of a connection here that should have been established. Maybe. I'm not sure. Again, I really like this episode. I really like how the story is maybe kind of sort of developing. We are actually taking the time to understand each of these characters and each of these characters' motivations. There are some characters I like and some characters I don't like, and that's reality, that's fine. And also, since I'm at the end rambles, I do want to shout out one of the time periods they went to throughout the tree's memories. They went to the future because in one of the past ones, Cake kills a spider and let this weird butterfly live, and they accidentally travel to the tree's future, and it's in a world where these butterflies have taken over the land and they're silk across all the cities, and baby Finn's around, the only hero seemingly alive, killing these things. Crazy time period there that it established. He also has butterfly wings in that time period, so did he morph to have butterfly wings? I'm not entirely sure what happened there. It's just something weird and wacky that happened that I couldn't talk about in a normal part of the video that I did want to mention. I thought it was funny. So I just saw season 2, episode 6 of Fionna and Cake, and man, I'm still trying to sit here and figure out what I saw and what just happened. Obviously, if you watched the episode or at least read the title or saw the thumbnail, you know the main talking point is going to be about the Cosmic Owl and Finn. By God, this is your only opportunity. If you've ever wanted me to give a spoiler warning for anything at all, this is your one spoiler warning I will give out. Spoiler warnings for stuff that happens in this episode. Things are getting kinda serious. Normally I try to go at the videos talking about specific characters, and the little short they show at the beginning helps a lot with me creating this narrative structure. But I know very little about the Cosmic Owl, so it was very interesting to get this backstory from him. When it comes to deities in Adventure Time, they don't really get explored too much. They just have been there and they always have been there. So what we do get to see from them is them playing the role that they've been given way before these events actually started. This is no different for the Cosmic Owl. The main 2 episodes I remember him being in is the one where Finn had a not wet dream about Flame Princess, and the one where Jake saw him in space and he thought that's how he was going to die. We know him for 2 things: prophetic dreams and croak dreams. Really, they're both the same thing. They're both prophetic dreams, but one, they die in it, so it makes sense that they give it another name. But besides that, we don't know much of him or how he came to be or where he's from. We know he's Prisma's friend, and oh, I just remembered he tried to date that one woman in her dreams before. That's also a thing that happened. So to remind us of the Cosmic Owl and his role in this series, he has been hanging out with Prisma a little bit more this season, and even left to do a croak dream for that guy in the gang in the farm world. So we should have seen this coming, but we didn't. I haven't even been trying to speculate what could happen to Finn at all because I feel like he's going to survive. I feel like the stakes this season are low because we have Together again, so I didn't even think of the possibility that Finn was going to be the one to have a croak dream here. But before that, he made an appearance in Huntress Wizard's dream where she was having this weird dream about Finn, where baby Finn shifted through all the other versions of Finn's designs over the years, even old man Finn, but I don't think we got to see the version of him from Obsidian. It was there Cosmic Owl let out a, "Oh cool, you're having a dream about that one guy that's scheduled to have a croak dream soon." Bro, you probably shouldn't have said that, especially not in front of Huntress Wizard, cause now she's gonna come after you, dog. It seems like the way the Cosmic Owl travels is by going from dream to dream, because chasing it, we enter Fiona's dream, then Cake's, then Marshall Lee's, and then Hunter's, but for some reason Fionna thinks it's DJ Flames. I don't know what Fionna sees in him. They all each kinda sorta had weird dreams, except Hunter I guess. Fionna had one where she got called a loser by Choose Goose and then was literally stuck on top of a water reflection of her old design. I'm assuming this is continuing the same plot point from before, but I understand it more now. Originally I was saying that she was doing this because she still yearns for a more magical life, but this and what she was talking to Finn about later, I think it makes more sense that she's stuck wanting to be a hero, wanting to do good in a world that is really difficult to do that in. But she can't move past these hero genes that she has. She wants to be there and wants to help out everyone, but it seems like it's stressing her out to the bitter end, and she's not even capable of helping herself, especially because she's still trying to get with DJ Flame. Why are you doing that, Fionna? Anyways, since they lost track of the Cosmic Owl, Huntress Wizard gets the idea to use her roots and stick them in Fiona's brain, and whoever she's thinking about, they can just go to their dream. So she tries to think about the Finn that she met and his farm world Finn, so they make him do the same, and now we're in OG Finn's dream. And this somehow feels like the most Finn dream I could have imagined. The only thing that would have made it more of a Finn dream is if it wasn't on stage, but maybe they just did that for some meta purpose. His dream was fighting monsters, being a hero, saving people, the normal Finn thing to do, but he keeps dying. But it's fine because it's a stage play and it just resets. And we had to sit here with Fionna and watch Finn die and get murdered and killed over and over and over again while she desperately tries to save him and become more and more panicked each time. But Finn is never phased. The series is about Fionna after all, so she has to ask Finn, how does he keep doing it? Even when things are difficult, how does he keep going? And again, he gets the most Finn answer of, he just follows his hero heart. I feel like a younger version of him would have said something similar, but more on the lines of, because that's what heroes do. Which isn't that much of a difference, but I do think it signifies some changes and gives him some free will to the concept of being a hero than what he would have gave beforehand. But I think I've been speaking way too much because, oh no, the Cosmic Owl is here. We have to stop Finn from dying again. What can we do? How can we go on? Oh, I guess pretty easy because Huntress Wizard killed the Cosmic Owl. This has to be some sort of cosmic crime, no? We can't just go killing deities with no repercussion. Something big is gonna have to happen now, right? But it's obviously worth it to Huntress Wizard because it's for Finn. It also just occurred to me that this is a 10-episode journey of Huntress Wizard learning how to open up. That's probably the most obvious thing that anybody's probably said. I could say it's a repeat of her only main role episode in Adventure Time, but I think this one could end differently. In that one, it ended with Huntress Wizard saying that her and Finn can't be together because of their different paths of warrior and hunter. But I think by the end of this series, coming this close to losing Finn will inevitably make her want to be with him after this. And not just have this weird situationship that they have, like actually be together on some PBMRC stuff. It's just a little hunch though, I could be wrong. To talk about some stuff I couldn't fit in this script, since it was mostly based in dreams, there was a lot of weird stuff that happened specifically around Fionna that I just couldn't wrap my head around. Kind of like a couple episodes ago where we saw Simon and Hunter's face, we saw more of those weird glitches happening, and we saw Simon's face again, but this time when she was holding DJ Flame. It's getting weird and also super hard to explain, so I just didn't even bring it up in the script this time. I want to give a brief talking point to Cake. Her dream was about not wanting to be a cat, but she is a cat and still have cat instincts, but her entire story of this season is her not wanting to be a cat. And the last thing I want to mention about this episode is Marceline tried to bite Finn because maybe that would wake him up from being in this weird coma. She tried to give him the dark gift, vampiric powers. But it didn't work and it put the poison in Marcy, so she's now also passed out. I don't have anything important to say about that. That's just really insane that she tried that, and I guess it makes sense because they're running out of options to try. They've already tried the Enchiridion, they tried to talk to Prismo, they tried to do the science route, they tried to do the weird fairy tale route. They are running out of options to save Finn. They had to do it. I just watched episode 7 of Fionna and Cake season 2, and well, it's not the most eventful episode to say the least. Shout out to Omar because I would not have the balls to write this is the worst episode of Adventure Time Fionna and Cake. I just don't have the balls to do that. So I'm gonna say something different. I was expecting an immediate follow-up to the previous episode as to what happened to the Cosmic Owl. You can say anything you want about season 1 of Fionna and Cake, but what it was focused. But instead of doing that, we got a Fionna heavy episode. This is all about Fionna and Fionna's world, nothing about Finn and Finn's health. So that's what the topic of this video is going to mostly pay attention to. It's Fionna's battle with her hero genes, Fionna's wavering courage. I guess since the main talking point is Fionna, I do want to start off with this. I really don't like how differently she's interpreting DJ Flame's motives. It feels like every step in this season he is saying something or doing something to get her thinking that he likes her, but only at the very end to be reminded that he's with Fennel. Fionna takes that as Fennel is holding him back instead of the right way of taking it as DJ Flame is a womanizer and not a good person as he lets on. She got the first dose of this season at the club and immediately started hating Fennel afterwards, even after Hunter said she's actually a pretty chill person. She gets another dose of this in the previous season where she's in someone's dream and it looks like Hunter is going to confess to her, but DJ Flame swoops in and sweeps her off her feet, stealing the opportunity away from him. She took this as to mean this is DJ Flame's dream and that he's clearly in love with her, instead of the obvious reading of this, that it was Hunter's dream. Fionna's this weird ball of stress, being gullible, and wanting to help people any way she can, no matter the cost. And this episode explores all of that. DJ Flame missed rehearsal, so she went to his apartment thinking Fionna was keeping him away from her love for some reason. And once there, it turns out that DJ Flame has been missing for a few days, and they decided to work together and go find him. They go to the best hunter in town, Huntress Wizard, and she gives them a plant that allows them to have hunter's vision, and they immediately take too much of this plant and have this weird trip where they're seeing all of the spirits that dwell around this world, similar to when we saw what the Ice King constantly sees with his spirit eyes and stuff. An actual interesting part about this experience is that everyone they looked at that's a part of Fionna's world, they had the spirit aura, and that aura was in the shape of whatever their former lives were in the old Fionna and Cake world. So they saw LSP as Slumpy Space Prince, they saw Mcron as whatever the Rainicorn dude's name is. I think the real version of him even did the foot thing like he once did before in OG Fionna and Cake. This entire weird trip somehow landed them on this hovercraft, which transported them to Venus, where they had to save DJ Flame's life with the power of love. Not love for him, surprisingly, but their admiration and respect for each other. Fionna talked about how she always admired her from afar and thinks she's this badass hero that always gets stuff done. And Fionna was more on the lines of, I thought I'd hate you, but it turns out you're actually a really good person and a loyal friend to Hunter. But that was enough love bombing for them to break out of their traps of love, get DJ Flame, and go hurtling back to Earth. This is another really interesting part of the episode, in my opinion. When hurtling down to Earth, they're both holding DJ Flame, almost low-key signaling this weird love triangle that might turn into something later on down the road, but something even more interesting happens. They look into each other's eyes, start seeing themselves as their old world versions, start blushing, immediately call each other beautiful, and drop DJ Flame because they immediately want to start embracing each other. I thought they were building up Hunter and Fionna this entire time, and I personally think we still are, but if they maybe want to explore Fionna and Fennel and dive so much deeper into the idea of this still being a fanfiction universe at heart, I would not mind that one bit. I actually might want that. That's one thing I think this season's missing as opposed to the previous and the old Fionna and Cake episodes. They're trying so hard to make this feel connected to the OG Adventure Time world, the Land of Ooh, that I personally think it's lost that fanfiction feeling that it was built upon. I don't really see these characters as gender-bent Finn, gender-bent PBMRC, gender-bent Flame Princess. They feel like characters of their own at this point, which was what they were building towards in season 1, but we also got to see all of these other universes a lot that kept that fanfiction feeling going. But I'm gonna be real, that's just a nitpick at the end of the day. This is still a gender-bent version of Finn and Jake babysitting and taking care of a baby version of Finn, while also trying to live in the modern world. This is probably some story that somebody made back in the day on Wattpad or AO3. Going back to the show, things get even weirder because it turns out that they maybe never went to Venus to begin with. Huntress Wizard put something on their eyes to cure them of their vision and they awoke on top of the Ferris wheel. And it seems like they just dropped the stuffed animal, but they had the same dream. It couldn't have just been a dream though. Could it? How would that explain LSP's dream earlier where he saw the Venus lady and she told him to deliver some message to somebody? How much of their trip was real versus how much of their trip was just a dream? I have to know this because I'm now confused at the end of the episode. To drive home this theme about Fionna wanting to be that hero, wanting to help out anybody no matter the cause, this sweet spot thing is driving her away from her friends. She really wants this fundraiser to be a success. She really wants it to get the money so she can save the sweet spot, but she's not thinking about Marshall Lee. She went to his mom to ask for her help without his consent. They have the venue at her place, and she even replaced his gig with DJ Flame. And to make things worse, it was confirmed in this episode that she is the reasoning behind as to why Simone had to leave Marshall Lee alone. She put a restraining order on her. One of the assistants saw him hug her and thought the wrong thing, and they immediately put a restraining order on her. Okay, that's pretty good, I guess. but it made Marshall Lee feel very weird about the thing and want to call the whole thing off, want to go somewhere else, doesn't want to deal with his mom at all. But all Fionna can say is, oh, that's cool, you don't gotta perform at all or something like that. She still wants to go on with it. She still wants it to be at that place, says it's too late for things to change, and he just kind of got silent and ghosted her. She is doing this no matter the cost or no matter the feelings of other people. I know being a hero and trying to help people is a part of who you are, but you still have to be considerate about how to do things. Fionna, come on. Now, I know this is a story you're gonna learn in this season. I know, and but it's really awkward to see because it's not this weird fantastical thing. It's so realistic. This is something that would happen realistically, that it feels so weird to watch in Adventure Time. So I just watched season 2, episode 8 of Fionna and Cake, and now we're finally here facing immediate judgment for what happened to the Cosmic Owl. This is the downfall, the downward spiral of Fionna as a character. Let's talk about it. For the entire season, it feels like we've been discussing Fionna's mental. She's, even after learning what she did in season 1, taking all of the blame for everything gone wrong personally. She feels like she's on the verge of breaking, and I think that's what we witnessed in this episode. It started off with Miss Aberdare canceling their venue and having them look for something else during the day because it's the last day to save the sweet spot. But before Fionna could come up with some sort of a last-ditch plan, her and Huntress Wizard poofs to the Cosmic Courts. I think that's what they call it, at least. They are being charged with the crime of murdering the Cosmic Owl by none other than the Scarab, because of course he hates them and is still a stickler for the rules. And it feels like no matter what they say, he's one step ahead. They still have cosmic blood on their hands. Self-defense isn't really a plea they can use here. They're painting it like they were out for the Cosmic Owl's neck, which I guess they kinda were now that I'm thinking about it. Desperate and out of options, you see Fionna starts panicking. She first tries to say that Scarab didn't witness the murder, so there's plausible deniability. She then switches her tactic, going from panicking to seemingly a broken state in my opinion. She blames it all on Finn. The reasoning for this was pretty unclear. My current thoughts towards her doing this was that she could only assume that the actions someone takes in their dreams shouldn't be reflective of the actions of their actual selves. Her and Huntress Wizard will get charged more harshly because it was them kind of that went and killed the Cosmic Owl. They knowingly went into a dream state to do that. But if it was a dream person that did it, are they really to blame for the actions that their dream selves did unknowingly? But I think we are to be upset by this decision though, because not only was Huntress Wizard visibly upset with her, we later find out at the end of the episode that Finn has been sent up there to assumingly be judged for a crime that he did not commit. Something that he cannot even do because he's still knocked out. What will that look like? Will he just be auto guilty? But they'll have even less evidence than they had with Fionna. At least with Fionna, they had an eye-ish witness. Here, they really just have hearsay. We're not supposed to like this action that Fionna takes, and in fact, we're seeing the culmination of this season now happen to her. Once she arrives back to her world, she panics, saying her catchphrase of this season that she can fix it. Oh my god, she can fix it. Only to find out that everything has been done without her. They found a new venue, everyone performed, made the money, and now the sweet spot is saved. But the hero didn't save the day. The hero doesn't know how to take not being the hero. The downfall has started. She kisses DJ Flame in front of both Fennel and Hunter, and that just made things even more awkward, even more bad for her. She would then go on to destroy this sweet spot in a fit of rage and sadness, I think, because she wasn't the one to save it. It's like she thinks her friends only look at her as this hero who can fix stuff and not as the human that she is. Yes, she has saved this world, but that doesn't make her any more or less important than everyone around here. I guess that's the character story that they're trying to tell this season. She feels like her existence is being challenged and it's making her have some sort of an imposter syndrome. Like, is she really the person who saved the world a few months back? Or is she still the gullible person who killed a a bunch of innocent candy creatures in the name of fake love she had for a prince that was using her. It's a weird story to pull off for season 2, but I do think they're doing it well. Some other things that I couldn't mention entirely within the script was Marshall Lee and Simone. He finally got to have this closure for his character where he reconnected with Simone, apologized for what his family did to her, and even performed in front of her. She really enjoyed that. It feels like they have now resparked that connection that was missed a long time ago. Kate's character has also came to a pivotal point where she tried to kiss the Imkron dude, and it turns out she didn't feel right. It still feels like she may be a cat. It feels like something there is missing. She's one of the only few magical creatures in this normal world, so there is some sort of a dilemma going on inside of her. Her cat instincts want to take over, but she also thinks she's more than a cat. And honestly, if my theory of Fiona's character arc isn't correct, I cannot explain why we keep seeing images of the Ice Prince around. That's my only assumption of why she's still seeing images of the Ice Prince Simon person around. I can only assume that it's because she still feels as if she's just as gullible as she was back then, and she still has a lot of guilt about her actions that she took in that moment. That's my only assumption. That's the only thing I can think that would motivate her character to become what it is now within season 2. I just watched season 2 episode 9 of Fionna and Cake, and yes, I was wrong about Fern being the person that Flame Princess is now seeing. I take full accountability for being wrong, but hot damn, we actually see him in this episode. I think the only way to look at this episode, the only way to talk about this episode is to discuss in entirety Fionna, Fern, and this weird undergrowth world that we're in. The question is, why Fern? Why is he here inside of the heart of the forest, the bridge between worlds? He lives here, traveling the undergrowth or underbelly or whatever it's called. It's kind of hard to explain if this is a retcon or not. Not him existing, but what he says. Fionna asks him if he's Finn's doppelganger, and he says kind of, and goes on to say he was living his life trying to be like Finn until it was painfully clear that he wasn't. This feels kind of retcon-y to me, no? I think we all know Fern is Finn, just like we all know Finn is Finn. He was just a different timeline version of Finn that got turned into a sword, then later merged with the grass demon to become Fern. He is inherently Finn, but appearance-wise, he's not, and maybe the fact that he's part grass demon does make him feel different as well. He couldn't have the same journey Finn had. It was inevitable what would become of him once his journey came to be against Finn, but to end up here is kind of beautiful, kind of tragic. I'm not really sure what word to use at this point. Here, he wanders the lands endlessly. These lands are filled with heavy thoughts that weigh characters down, and he protects Finn's. Each piece of Finn's vault is trapped here because he's not ready to face them himself. It makes you wonder, what is Fern here for? Is his existence something that weighs himself down constantly, but he's sort of at peace with it now? Or is he here for a more symbolic reason? Is he a piece of Finn's vault? The only person Finn would trust to guard his vault is indeed Finn. I think it's just something interesting to think about. This is where Fionna comes in, because just like Fern, she too compares herself to this hero that she's not. But she doesn't compare herself to Finn, she compares herself to the former Fionna. The Fionna from a world long ago that doesn't exist anymore. She saved the world. She's helped people. Finn helps people. It's what heroes do. But why does it feel like she's incapable of helping anyone? Is she not the hero she claims? These are the thoughts going through her head that she has desperately been facing and is now taking them head on. Her being here is symbolic for her weighing herself down, of course, and it gives her the opportunity to see, just like her, all of her friends struggle. All of her friends have things that they worry about and weigh them down, but they still went on to do the show. They still smile and try to help out their friends when they can. She is here to realize again that she's not the main character of this world, but the world itself is the main character, and each person supports it and gives their and other people around them's lives meaning. She doesn't know what or how, but she has to make things right. Maybe in a different way this time, and not in a desperate attempt to be the hero that saves the day. She was able to come to that conclusion with the help of this worm guy who helped Cake realize each transformation is like a different extension of herself. He's also here to show Fionna that life has different roles for everybody, and there it's revealed that this is the brother of the Cosmic Owl, and somehow through this conversation he ends up breaking one of the heavy thoughts of the Cosmic Owl, and it somehow revives the Cosmic Owl, and the Cosmic Owl will go on to say to the court that Finn is innocent, and also he quits doing the croak dreams and stuff. So much happened just then. It's hard for me to follow. I'll probably talk about Finn and Huntress Wizard more in the final episode review, but her character is also at a pivotal point. From fighting Witch Wizard again to seeing the heart inside of her own mind, she has now come to a new conclusion. She didn't take the cure. She's now saying that she'll help Finn out in another way. The right way. I swear to God, if this is building up to a true love's kiss angle, I'd freak out. I'm gonna scream. If they kiss and that fixes Finn, that's kinda beautiful. But going from episode 1 to this, you can see Huntress Wizard seems more open now. She even tells Fionna that she's not a broken soul. She's a great person. It's not a lot, but it is a lot compared to what we normally get from the emotionless Huntress Wizard. She even accepts a hug from Fionna and Cake, and gets one back. And smiles? Who is this Huntress Wizard? So I just seen the finale of Fionna and Cake season 2. We've been wondering how this season would end, how everything will culminate into this final moment, and we finally got it. Let's talk about the pros and cons of it. This is what the entire season was moving towards. The rebirth of Finn. Two things felt like they had to happen. Fionna had to somehow make things right with everybody, and Huntress Wizard had to confess her emotions towards Finn or something. And well, one of those things seemed like it happened. Fionna's journey is finally wrapped up. For all of these reviews, the constant thing I've been saying is she's gonna have to learn to let everybody do their own thing. Everybody else has feelings and deep-rooted issues just like her, and they're also heroes in their own right. That's probably one of the major themes in this series in general, relying on others. Fionna not only had to learn in season 1 that her world was worth saving, but in season 2 she also had to learn that she isn't the only one who can save things. Everybody has something they are fighting for. She can rely on any of her friends just as they can for her. We saw the same in Usorda this season, with Finn being temporarily out of action. We saw all walks of life come in to try to help bring Finn back to life, from friends like Marcy and PB, to princesses he's helped over the years, to former lovers like Flame Princess, hell, to even new lovers like Huntress Wizard. So after learning this theme and reflecting finally, Fionna went to make amends to Marshall, Lee, and Gary. And they can't fully accept what she's done yet, but they are willing to grow and accept the gesture of forgiveness she gave. Even Finn looks like she may be getting along with Fionna now. And between us, they could just be good friends. I don't want to bail out the situation or anything, but I mean, I could see something happening between Fionna and Finn. It'd be awkward for Hunter, but it'd be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind it. This section ends with Fionna finding this gate at the end of Peach Street and remembering what the Venus alien said to LSP to go beyond the end of the Peach. And wouldn't you know it, this world seems a lot more like the original Adventure Time world than we thought. This just so happens to be the only city in this world, and also it just so happens that every alt version of the OG Adventure Time cast is living in this city. But now they have a whole broken planet to explore. Will we see any interesting creatures around? Who knows, but I'm assuming so. Fionna might have found her freedom and magic after all. Now onto Huntress Wizard. I feel like her story was supposed to be, hey, Finn almost died without you fully expressing yourself towards him, so you might want to do that before it's too late. It doesn't feel like we got that fully in this season. Huntress Wizard got in contact with Fionna to talk to Finn's heart, and there she saw a younger Finn sulking cause he said no one cares for him like Jake does. But Fionna was adamant that Huntress Wizard does as well. She didn't say it with words, but she showed it with her action. Fionna saw firsthand how much Huntress Wizard cares through all of her panic actions she has done over the season. She was able to fully explain that to Finn, and that was enough for him to want to be brought back to life. Along with Huntress Wizard using the life force of all of her other seeds in the different dimensions to cure him. I will say they seem a lot closer now though. She kissed him in front of his friends and family as soon as he woke up, and she, now teaching students about nature magic, is perfectly fine with Finn being there as well as she teaches. It does feel like they have a new normal, a new understanding of each other. And that's how this season ends is what I would say, but we got our first ever post-credit scene with Hudson Abadir, Marceline's dad, meeting Marshall Lee? I want to speculate, but I genuinely have no idea. Maybe a third season we could see there be a dimension hopping method through the Nidosphere, and it could be more of like a Marshall Lee and Marceline focus type thing, and we could have all the relationship drama in that one. I really don't know what to expect from that, but it was definitely an interesting choice of a post-credit scene to use. But yeah, with that being said, that's basically it. I hope you've enjoyed this full journey of me reviewing all of the episodes of Fionna and Cake. I definitely didn't mean to review every single episode. I definitely should have picked and choose, but I was interested in most of these episodes, so I'm happy I got to talk about them. And I'm happy you all were here to experience this as well. With that being said, let me know what you thought of this full series in the comments down below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. I don't think there's been any news for season 3 yet. I know there's an Adventure Time side quest story being made, and I think there's a movie also being made. But would that just mean the Fionna and Cake cast can now be merged with the OG Adventure Time runs, or will it still just be a separate thing for them to maybe possibly potentially greenlit down the road? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Okay, goodbye.